Top 10 mistaken identity stones in gem history. Not all gemstones are recognized from the start. Some are underestimated, mislabeled, or overlooked altogether. The error has existed for centuries, partly due to technological limitations, partly due to people's reliance on the familiar. But science has finally revealed the truth. Stones once considered ordinary are the rarest treasures on the planet. Their journey is not just about geology, it's about reclaiming identity. Here are 10 remarkable stories in gemstone history where actual value was obscured by misunderstanding. And when the dust of error is cleared away, a beauty remains that was never appropriately named. Don't forget to press and hold that like button, leave a comment, and hit subscribe before we begin. Ranked 10th, Andalusite, misunderstood by its colors. For decades, Andalusite was the gemstone nobody quite understood. Its shifting palette, olive green from one angle and brick red from another, baffled dealers and buyers. Many mistook it for low-grade tourmaline, smoky quartz, or even flawed garnet. Jewelers wrote it off as unstable in color, and collectors dismissed it for lacking clarity or brilliance. As a result, countless specimens were misclassified in catalogs and museum drawers for nearly a century. This case of mistaken identity wasn't just visual, it was systemic. The stone's unique optical behavior, known as pleochroism, was poorly understood in the early 20th century. Without the benefit of polarized light or advanced spectroscopy, gemologists couldn't explain why Andalusite looked like three stones in one. In a market driven by uniformity, Andalusite's personality worked against it. It wasn't until the late 1900s, with better gemological tools and a rising appreciation for optical phenomena, that Andalusite began to be reevaluated. What had once been a flaw became a feature. Today, though still underappreciated, it's prized by collectors who seek depth and intrigue over sparkle. Its commercial value remains modest, averaging $75 to $300 per carat, but its story is priceless. A gemstone once dismissed, now rediscovered for exactly what made it different. Ranked 9th, blue zircon, thought to be diamond. There was a time when blue zircon lit up showcases across Victorian England, mistaken not for what it was, but for what it resembled. Diamond. Cut well, this gemstone blazed with such intense brilliance that jewelers of the 1800s sold it under the name Matura diamond, especially in antique rose-cut rings and brooches. But unlike diamond, zircon carries a distinctive optical fingerprint. Double refraction. When light enters the crystal, it splits and bounces twice, creating an intense fire that borders on shimmering distortion. Chemically distinct from cubic zirconia, synthetic and common, natural zircon is a zirconium silicate formed in granitic pegmatites and alluvial deposits. The oldest known zircon crystals, dated to 4.4 billion years, were discovered in Western Australia, though the prized vivid blues often originate from Cambodia, Sri Lanka, and Myanmar. These blues rarely occur naturally and are typically achieved through low-temperature heat treatment of brownish-red zircon. The result? A gemstone that mimics the appearance of fine blue topaz, sapphire, or even aquamarine, confusing generations of buyers and miscatalogued by traders for over a century. Regarding performance, zircon ranks 6 to 7.5 on the Mohs scale, making it softer than diamonds but suitable for pendants, earrings, and careful ring settings. High-quality blue zircon can range from $75 to $400 per carat, depending on saturation and clarity. Its deceptive sparkle and quiet legacy set it apart, one of misidentification, rediscovery, and resilience in a market where clarity often overshadows character. Ranked 8th, Demantoid Garnet, mistaken for peridot or glass. In the 19th century, deep beneath Russia's Ural Mountains, miners unearthed a vivid green stone so bright it was thought to be nothing more than decorative glass or low-grade peridot. Its color shimmered in the cold northern light, but its identity remained overlooked until it reached the hands of imperial jewelers. This stone would soon be known as Demantoid Garnet, the rarest and most luminous member of the garnet family. The name Demantoid comes from the Dutch word demant, meaning diamond-like, a tribute to its extraordinary dispersion. When light enters the stone, it splits into spectral fire, a rainbow flash more often associated with diamonds than garnets. In its finest form, Demantoid rivals top-tier green gemstones, boasting brilliance and a hue ranging from bright lime to deep forest green. But what distinguishes Demantoid is its color and a signature found only in Russian specimens: horsetail inclusions. Wispy golden threads of bisolite arch like a comet's tail within the crystal. Dismissed initially due to its similarity to peridot and green glass, Demantoid's actual value wasn't recognized until Fabergé began using it in Tsarist jewelry. Even then, its rarity kept it exclusive. Most Demantoid garnets are small. Cut stones rarely exceed 1 carat, with anything above 2 carats commanding prices upwards of $5,000 per carat. Newer deposits in Namibia and Madagascar produce cleaner stones, but connoisseurs continue to seek the classic Ural origins for their historical and gemological prestige. Once mistaken for something familiar, Demantoid has become a symbol of refined taste, fire, and legacy. A jewel once lost in misidentification, now restored to prominence among the world's elite greenstones. Ranked 7th, Paraíba Tourmaline, dismissed as faded beryl. In the dusty hills of Paraíba, Brazil, a local prospector named Hader Dimas Barbosa spent nearly a decade digging through pegmatites no one else considered promising. What he found in the late 1980s looked wrong. The crystals were pale, grayish blue with a milky veil. Gem traders dismissed them outright. Washed out beryl, some said, or damaged aquamarine. They were stored, forgotten, passed over. Then the stones were cut. Under precision faceting, a transformation took place. What appeared lifeless in the rough now radiated with an electric glow, a vivid blue that seemed illuminated from within. The secret was copper. No recorded tourmaline had shown such coloration due to its copper and manganese content. Gemologists reran tests, labs recalibrated instruments, and the gem world realized this wasn't beryl, it wasn't aquamarine, and it wasn't like anything seen before. Paraíba Tourmaline soon entered the global market, setting a new standard for neon brilliance. Stones with even slight saturation fetch premium prices, and the finest examples, neon blue with intense clarity, have reached over $50,000 per carat, especially in sizes above 3 carats. Demand exploded, but supply never caught up. The original mine in Paraíba was nearly exhausted within a decade. Similar copper-bearing tourmalines appeared later in Nigeria and Mozambique, but purists still distinguish the true Brazilian origin for its unmatched depth of tone. What began as a geological curiosity, wrongly labeled and undervalued, rose to become one of the most coveted modern gemstones. Its story isn't about discovery, it's about recognition, about how a new hue can still rewrite the rules of beauty and value, even in a world saturated with color. Ranked 6th, Chrysoberyl cat's eye, sold as quartz. A beam of light moves across the surface, sharp, focused, unblinking. It's called chatoyancy in gemology, and no gemstone performs it more precisely than a chrysoberyl cat's eye. Yet these golden-green cabochons were casually tossed aside for much of the early 20th century, mistaken for common quartz or low-grade tiger's eye. The luster was too silky, and the inclusions were too fine. Dealers mislabeled them. Collectors undervalued them. Jewelers ignored them. When cut on cabochon and properly oriented, chrysoberyl produces a crisp line that divides the stone in two, like a closed eyelid. But this effect vanishes without the proper cut or in poor lighting, and for decades it did. The misidentification wasn't just commercial, it was technical. Most specimens were found in Sri Lanka, nestled in river gravels among quartz pebbles. Without advanced tools, traders assumed they belonged to the same family. The truth emerged only when gem laboratories began measuring specific gravity and refractive index. This wasn't quartz. It was chrysoberyl, the same mineral family as Alexandrite, only rarer in chatoyant form. Prices today vary dramatically. Lower-end specimens still sell under $100 per carat, but top-grade stones, translucent, sharply banded, and weighing over 2 carats, can command $3,000 to $8,000 per carat. Stones exhibiting the rare milk and honey effect, where the eye floats over a two-tone body, are even more prized in Eastern markets. Chrysoberyl cat's eye isn't just a gemstone, It's a revelation delayed by misjudgment. Hidden in plain sight, it reminds us that even light can be misunderstood and vision can deceive. Ranked 5th, Grandidierite, lost in museum drawers. For over 100 years, a small cluster of bluish-green crystals sat mislabeled in museum collections across Europe and North America. Some were filed as apatite, while others bore labels like turquoise or unknown. Their hues resembled glacial melt, translucent blue-green with occasional hints of yellow, but their identity remained unresolved. It wasn't until mineralogists re-examined the specimens in the early 2000s, comparing them to samples from southern Madagascar, that the truth emerged. These were granodierites, among the rarest gemstones ever recorded. Discovered in 1902 by French naturalist Alfred Grandidier, the mineral was named in his honor but initially attracted little commercial interest. The first known deposit, perched on Madagascar's remote Andromeda cliffs, yielded opaque, primarily material. With no clarity and limited accessibility, the stone slipped into obscurity. For decades, it was known only to academics, and even then, it was often misclassified. A breakthrough came in 2014 when a new source of gem-quality Grandidierite was uncovered in Tranamero, Madagascar. These crystals were different, semi-transparent to fully translucent and suitable for faceting. Their borosilicate structure, laced with iron and magnesium, displayed striking trichroism, revealing blue, green, and yellow flashes depending on the viewing angle. No other gemstone combined that optical depth with such extreme rarity. With a hardness of 7.5 to 8 on the Mohs scale, Grandidierite is durable but rarely found above 1 carat in faceted form. Top-quality stones can command between $20,000 and $30,000 per carat, while museum-grade specimens are virtually priceless. Once lost to mislabeling and neglect, Grandidierite has reemerged as a symbol of how science, persistence, and curiosity can rewrite a gem's destiny. Ranked 4th, Tanzanite, the rebranded zoisite. In the shadow of Mount Kilimanjaro, 1967 marked a quiet discovery that would shake the global gem market. Blue-violet crystals in the Marilani Hills shimmered with an intensity unfamiliar to the gem trade. Mineralogists identified the material as zoisite, a calcium-aluminum silicate already documented in the scientific literature, but seldom encountered in this vibrant hue. Though the deposit appeared promising, the gem's prospects faltered, not because of rarity or quality, but because of its name. Zoisite sounded clinical, abrasive, even unmarketable in English-speaking regions. That changed when Tiffany & Company stepped in. Recognizing the potential, the company orchestrated a complete rebrand. The gemstone was renamed Tanzanite, anchoring its identity to its singular place of origin, northern Tanzania. A well-executed global campaign positioned it as an elegant alternative to sapphire, exotic, new, and emotionally resonant. The market responded instantly. Tanzanite appeared in high-end catalogs, celebrity jewelry, and investment portfolios within a few years. What sets Tanzanite apart is its optical complexity. Depending on the viewing angle, the gem exhibits strong trichroism, flashing shades of deep blue, violet, and burgundy. Most Tanzanite is heat-treated to amplify this color spectrum, transforming brownish crystals into brilliant jewel tones. With a Mohs hardness of 6 to 7, it's best suited for pendants, earrings, and occasional wear rings. Commercially, Tanzanite remains tethered to a narrow 2.5-mile stretch of land. No other source has been found. Prices range from $300 to $1,500 per carat, with exceptional stones above 5 carats commanding over $5,000. Its ascent was not driven by mineralogy alone, but by the rare fusion of story, scarcity, and a name that finally fit. Ranked 3rd, Red Beryl, mistaken for garnet. A blood-red crystal formed under intense geologic pressure in the rugged Thomas Range of western Utah, where volcanic rhyolite meets faulted desert cliffs. Early prospectors thought they had found garnet. The color matched, the luster was modest, and the crystals, tiny, fractured, embedded in gas cavities, seemed commercially irrelevant. Most were discarded, but this wasn't garnet. It was red beryl, a vanishingly rare cousin of emerald and aquamarine, formed under conditions so specific they occur in only one known geologic environment on Earth. Unlike other beryls which crystallize in pegmatites, red beryl grows inside volcanic rhyolite, where beryllium-rich gases meet manganese and iron under the correct pressure, temperature, and chemical ratios. The microscopic window for its formation is a geological miracle measured in millimeters. First identified correctly in the early 1900s and briefly named Bixbite, the stone's name was later abandoned to avoid confusion with Bixbite, another mineral. Yet even after correct classification, red beryl remained underappreciated due to its minuscule size. Faceable crystals over 1 carat are scarce. Fewer than 1 in 150,000 beryl crystals found in Utah are gem-quality red beryl. Red beryl is estimated to be over 1,000 times rarer than diamond. Today, the only consistent source, Ruby Violet claims in Utah, is no longer in whole operation. As supply vanishes, demand grows. Top specimens have reached $10,000 to $20,000 per carat, with unheated, untreated stones commanding even higher prices among collectors. Once misjudged as a common garnet, red beryl now represents the absolute apex of American mineral rarity, a stone born of fire, ignored for decades, and now nearly impossible to replace. Ranked second, Alexandrite, the color-changing conundrum. In the heart of 19th century imperial Russia, miners exploring the Ural Mountains unearthed a chrysoberyl unlike any recorded before. By daylight, it displayed a cool green hue tinged with blue. But under candlelight, it shifted, startlingly, into a deep purplish red. This dual nature confused markets. Stones were frequently misidentified as flawed emeralds or odd-colored garnets. Lacking precedent, traders dismissed them as unstable curiosities. The gem was named Alexandrite in honor of the young heir to the Russian throne, Alexander II. Its optical phenomenon, color change under different lighting conditions, wasn't a trick of polish or orientation. It was rooted in mineral chemistry, chromium, and a crystal structure capable of selectively absorbing light wavelengths. When gemologists finally measured it, they confirmed the stone exhibited true trichroism, a property shared by only a few gems on Earth. Despite its remarkable behavior, Alexandrite was misunderstood outside Russia for decades. Western buyers struggled to classify or price it. Its inconsistency became a liability until the mid-20th century when gemological institutions standardized testing methods and acknowledged its singular profile. Today, Alexandrite ranks among the world's most valuable and rare gemstones. Unheated specimens with a substantial color shift over 1 carat often fetch between $15,000 and $70,000 per carat, with Russian origin stones commanding the highest premiums. Though newer sources exist in Brazil, Sri Lanka, and East Africa, few match the intensity of the originals. What was once rejected for its unpredictability now stands as the global benchmark of optical marvel, a gemstone whose identity was hidden not by the earth, but by human misperception. In the first place is Spinel, the great royal impostor. Among all cases of mistaken identity in gem history, none has endured as long, or reached as high, as Spinel. For centuries, its crimson brilliance adorned the regalia of monarchs, believed to be rubies. The most famous example, the so-called Black Prince's ruby, set prominently in the British imperial state crown, is in fact a red Spinel, not a ruby at all. This confusion wasn't accidental. Spinel and ruby often grow in the same geological environments and can appear nearly identical to the naked eye. Before modern gemological tools, stones were classified by color and lore, not mineralogy. As a result, Spinel quietly passed through the hands of emperors, warlords, and traders, mistaken for something it was not, yet treasured all the same. Chemically, Spinel is distinct. It's a magnesium aluminum oxide, not a variety of corundum like ruby. It ranks 8 on the Mohs scale, exhibits strong luster, and is usually untreated, offering natural saturation without heat or diffusion. Fine red spinels, especially those from Myanmar, remain rare and coveted. Stones over 5 carats of exceptional clarity can reach $10,000 to $30,000 per carat at auction. What sets Spinel apart is its beauty or durability and the weight of its historical misidentification. It reigned under the wrong name for over a millennium, unquestioned, unchallenged and undiminished. Spinel doesn't fall in Ruby's shadow in reclaiming its true identity. It stands beside it, a rightful heir to the throne of royal gems. They were overlooked, misnamed and considered ordinary. But every gem on this list proves that identity isn't always clear, and value is often hidden behind centuries of misunderstanding. These aren't just gemological mistakes. There are moments when science caught up with nature's complexity. Today, these stones have reclaimed their names and their rightful place in gem history. But the journey of discovery isn't over. Even now, somewhere in a forgotten drawer or at the foot of a miner's grave, another overlooked treasure may be waiting to be seen for what it is. Let us know which resonates with you in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.